the reality is that if you go to Mexico, the cartels are probably the most efficient part of the country.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So, and the Chinese don't care who they work with, as long as the job gets done. But the main point of cooperation between the cartels and China is actually in money laundering. So the cartels have a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Right. They're a cash-rich business. The problem is, how do they legitimize this cash? Right. Mm-hmm. That's the cartel problem. Mm-hmm. China has a different problem because there are lots of rich Chinese and they need to move their money out of the country and preferably into the United States because there's lots of financial restrictions against moving your money out of the United States. So a Chinese citizen is only allowed to move 50,000 US out of China into the United States.
Every year?
Every year. So if you're a millionaire, that sucks.
That's a slow process.
Right. So the way around this is through trade. Okay. So what I do is this. Okay. And I'm talking hypothetically as well for simplicity's sake. All right. So the Mexican cartel has boatloads of US cash, right? So you borrow from the cartel, like maybe $2 million, and they buy you a house in Flushing, Queens, New York. Okay. Now you owe the cartels $2 million. And so how do you compensate them for that? Well, you do it through trade, right? So the cartels set up a factory and you buy goods from this factory at an inflated price.
Wow.
And then the cartels now are able to launder their drug money, and the Chinese are able to launder their money into the United States to buy real estate.
Wow.
And that's a main point of cooperation.
So Chinese rich people in China are using the Mexican cartels sort of as like mortgage lenders on real estate in the United States.
Banks, basically.
Banks, right. That's crazy. And this is all to get around like the sanctions or like international laws, like trade laws?
It's to get around the financial repression in China.
Right.
Because
and this is because of this is not the United States that's making this rule. This is not the United States.
Right. So you are not allowed to convert. So the US dollar and the renminbi are not convertible. Right. So because the reality is, if you are a Chinese person and you're allowed to convert, you would just convert all your renminbi into US dollars.
Right.
So, and this would cause a collapse of the renminbi, of the Chinese economy. Mm-hmm. So there are tremendous restrictions on that. And so the way you get around that is by working with Mexican cartels. If you're a millionaire and a billionaire, right? Obviously, if you're an ordinary person, you don't really care, right? But you have a lot of money to burn and you need to invest it and you need to move this capital overseas,
right?
Then you work for the cartels. And right now, there's a lot of anxiety in China because over these past 10 years, there's been growing repression in China, especially against the financial elite. So the classic case is Jack Ma.
Who's he?
Jack Ma used to be China's wealthiest person, and he runs a company called Alibaba. Jack Ma.
Oh, yeah.
And he's pretty famous here in the United States.
This guy?
Yep, Jack Ma. Right? And he's the poster boy for Chinese entrepreneurship. He was a rock star in China for the longest time. And he really thought he was untouchable because he represented Chinese entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And at this time, and this about, I forgot the year, but maybe 2016, 2017, the Chinese economy was considered what legitimized the Communist Party. So the Communist Party had to ensure the entrepreneurs were happy. Okay. And he was the poster boy of entrepreneurship. So he started to be arrogant, and then they shut him down.
He's like the Jeff Bezos of China.
That's right. Yeah. And you can't touch Jeff Bezos in the United States, right? Right. Donald Trump cannot call Jeff Bezos in the White House and says, "Hey, Jeff, you've been you've been naughty recently, and we're gonna have to teach you a lesson." Naughty. You've been naughty, right? You can't do that.
No, Jeff's gonna hop on the yacht and he'll be out of town in no time.
Exactly. Right. So they did that to Jack Ma. They sanctioned him, And ever since, Chinese entrepreneurship has been very afraid.
They sanctioned him.
Yes.
So he didn't have a, I mean, if I'm him and I'm the richest dude in China,
Yeah.
I would be doing everything I can to diversify my wealth out of China, right?
Yes, but
To where if China sanctioned my money, my Chinese bank accounts, I'm fine.
that's right. And so a lot of entrepreneurs are doing that. The
Yes.
problem is that within each Chinese company is a Commerce Party cell that monitors the activities of this company.